Hey creatives, what's going on? Welcome back to the Almost Creative Podcast. I have a little bit of doubt about how this episode will go, but it's very fitting because this week's episode we are talking about imposter syndrome.
I guess.
So before we get started, Chris, I just wanted to catch up. So I don't know if you realize this, we haven't done an episode together since the end of April.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's been a lot that has happened since the last time we talked. I'll just kind of list off a few things. If you want to talk about any of these things, you can. Otherwise, we'll just keep moving forward. Cool, first things first. We both have been on planes multiple times since last time.
Yeah, let's go. Travel, baby.
Yeah, so we got to go to Tennessee for a shoot. You had to go back to Tennessee again while I was going to Texas.
They booked us for some extra work. Yep.
There's been a good Marvel movie since last time we talked.
When?
I want to see which one you would think I'm thinking of is the good movie.
This year they've all been pretty good.
Yeah,
Captain America.
Well, yeah, no, that one had already happened.
Thunderbolts was really good.
Yeah,
the marketing did it poorly. Fantastic Four was also really, really good.
Yeah,
Superman was also really good. It's just overall peak. The last few years we've been blessed with peak.
Yeah, well, there's that meme. It's like they're doomed. We're back. We're doomed. We're back.
Yeah,
I feel like we might actually be back because I was pleasantly surprised with Thunderbolts. I haven't seen Fantastic Four yet, but Thunderbolts, that was pretty enjoyable. And again, like you said, the marketing kind of made me not want to watch it because I'm like, oh, whatever. It's just more Marvel trash. But it was really, really good.
Okay, so I'll say this because there's so much to the movie that I liked. I did not expect myself at all liking all of these characters more than like I enjoyed like Black Widow or Thor or, the icons. Yeah. I enjoyed all these characters way more. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's how I was too. But that was good. What else has happened? So war's been declared on our city here in Chicago. So that's the thing. Right. We won't get too much into that. That's a heavier thing. We're not here to talk about heavy topics. We're here to make you forget about those heavy topics. So
what's funny? I feel like we've been in Chicago, but I feel like I've been in other cities more. And I only realized yesterday they're all M's.
Yeah.
You sent me to Memphis twice. I've been in Milwaukee for work. I was in Milwaukee for fun. And then I was in Minneapolis. And I guess soon we're going to be in Madison.
Yeah. I don't know any other M. I think that might be all of them. I don't know if there's any others left.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Shout out in the comments if you live in a M state.
If you're in an M city, we're coming near you.
Awesome. Well, we should get started because I don't think people want to hear us talk about stuff too long. They want to hear about the topic. And the topic is imposter syndrome. I don't really I have an outline of this, of course, but I kind of just wanted to jump into this because I feel like it's a very relatable topic. I think us being creatives, you often wrestle with, am I good enough? Is my work good enough? Am I worth the amount I charge? I think a lot of us have those internal questions. So I thought this would just be a great topic to bring.
Cool.
He has no insight today. I guess I'll have to do all the talking. So, I was thinking when I was putting together my notes of where did this start? And it's interesting thinking back because I think it's something I've always wrestled with, but I didn't know I was wrestling with it. And it even goes back to like as a kid because I would say, for lack of better words, so being someone who was born in the late 80s, it was very different when I was a kid. Like a lot of things that are cool now were not cool, but I was into those things that were not cool. So I really liked technology. I really liked, cartoons, computer art, video games. Like I was very intrigued by that stuff, but it was like almost not acceptable. And maybe that's just the problem of growing up in a small town where everyone around you are farmers. But I felt like kind of an outcast in that sense. So I actually would hold back some of my knowledge, I feel like. So I almost feel like my imposter syndrome started even back then where I would hold back on what I know. And just because I didn't think I measured up to what the standard was.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like my imposter syndrome started because I became an adult.
Yeah.
Because I used to make stupid videos and never had a problem with any of that. But you know what happens with the psychology of your brain, or at least for my understanding of it, is your brain starts getting hardwired to make smarter choices and also always look out for risk. And in a comfortable life like we have, that starts being stupid things like, oh, what are they going to think of this next project? So I used to feel confident in like all these dumb projects I would do were just good videos, but I call them dumb. And now it's like I don't even feel like I can put that out because I get in my own head of like, is this good enough? When it's good enough.
Yeah.
But you get in like, oh, I stuttered, or a bunch of things that no one ever cares about, but you as a perfectionist or whatever you want to call it, you get in your own head.
Yeah.
So I know that's when it started for me. I think 18, 19, 20.
Yeah. And I think it really ramped up for me in college because I didn't really lean into the things I really liked or was passionate about, or I didn't have resources for those things. I didn't really practice any of that, like in high school or even before then. And so when I got to college, everything was new. So I went to an art school and I'm basically starting at ground zero, whereas some of these people have been doing this stuff since they were like little kids. And so I was always comparing myself to them and the work they were doing and constantly comparing. And this is, I mean, there was social media at this point, but it wasn't like what it is now. Yeah. So, but you would see their portfolio in your classes and we'd have to showcase our work. And it was always a hard thing for me to do. And I always felt like I had to make up excuses for myself in a way. And I was always comparing myself. But I think where I started finally getting over it was after college. So, I was able to build a portfolio, start getting freelance work. And now I look back and it's like, well, I'm like actually doing this, but even now there's still those times where it's like, am I actually worth like charging this much for?
Yeah, that makes sense. And
so, I have this diagram. You could probably put this, pull this up because you're all not going to be able to see my phone very well, but there's a what do they call it? Little, like there's two circles and then there's a circle in the middle.
A Venn diagram.
Yeah. Thank you for your scientific term.
Imagine I get it wrong. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
You just said the wrong thing. Keep that in. That's fine. Yeah. So the what do they call the first circle?
I don't know.
Circle one. Circle one.
Exhibit A.
Left circle says making something look easy. Right circle says discounting your value. And then in the middle circle where they overlap, that's imposter syndrome. And I think that's very true because for us, especially for me doing this for over 10 years, it's pretty easy for me to shoot a wedding, edit their wedding the day of the wedding, show it to them the day of the wedding. To me, it's like, this is just a muscle that I've trained and I just can do it. It's just a habit. I can do it really well. And to me, it's easy. And so by it being easy, I discount what it's worth to the client and what they might be willing to pay for it. So then I have this internal battle going on of like, well, this is easy to do. So why am I charging that much? And I forget that, they're not just paying me hourly. They're paying me for my skills and my expertise that I am providing to them.
Can I jump in and say something too? You talk about how easy it is. And the first thing my brain goes to is like, I don't know if you have much experience with this, but I do. Kind of like my Mexican background. You like have to. You
don't smile?
You don't. Yeah, we don't smile. You compare it to hard work or like backbreaking work. And so when you do something creative where it is value and is worth charging for, you almost feel like, oh, compared to my other experiences or compared to my 9-to-5, this is nothing. So it's hard to charge.
I don't think that's even just from your culture. I think that there's a lot of other cultures like that too. Cause I think that comes from, central southern Illinois, like small town mindset. It's the same kind of thing of like,
you got soft hands, brother.
Right. Yeah. Where if it's not hard work, it's not worth the money, but it's not like what we do is all physical activity. Like some of it is mental and just having a certain skill set, and that's worth money to someone, So no, that's a really good point.
I mean, you don't judge an accountant for having soft hands, right?
Right. It's almost probably better if they have soft hands. So.
No way. I mean, it's just a mental thing now. Yeah, it's just a skills thing.
Yeah,
you were saying you were.
No. So I just kind of have a definition. If you're like still not totally sure what imposter syndrome is, it's a common feeling of doubt and self-deception, especially prevailing among artists, where individuals doubt their achievements and attributes, and they attribute them to luck or external factors instead of their own ability. This can manifest as downplaying accomplishments, comparing oneself to others, and fearing exposure as fraud. So the ending in particular, I think, is interesting, of being exposed as a fraud. Have you ever had that feeling?
I mean, yes, but no. Like, I wouldn't say being exposed as a fraud because I'm not a fraud.
Yeah. But
maybe being put out there and having people think negatively of me for whatever reason, like something I just can't control. Yeah. Like, and that's a realistic fear, I think.
Yeah, I think early on, I think I'm pretty confident in what my skill set is and what I bring to the table now. I do know early on, because I can relate to those beginning stages, because when I was in that, sometimes this is your first time doing this kind of project and you're getting paid for it. So like the first time you do a wedding and someone actually gave you money for it, or the first time you did a video for a manufacturer. And it's kind of scary because in a way you want them to feel comfortable with you, like you are an expert, but you also have no idea what you're doing in some ways. And so like it becomes this thing of like, if I screw this up, they're going to find out that I'm not actually who I am, and it's going to tarnish my reputation. But what I learned is to be honest with who you are. Like if someone approaches you and you've never worked in that industry, you really shouldn't lie about it. You can kind of like maybe mask it in a way of like, okay, I've never worked with a manufacturer, but I've done construction, which is kind of similar, or I've done this, or like you get like a mortgage broker and you're like, I've never worked with a mortgage broker before, but I work with realtors. So like, you know, you want to be honest with them. And then I feel like that kind of alleviates some of the imposter syndrome that can happen, because now you're not lying either. So I think that's what happens sometimes as artists. We want the job so bad that we almost kind of lie of what our capacities are. And that's why we're afraid we're going to get found out as a fraud.
I mean, you could always get more experience. You can't untell a lie.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Even with the wedding side, like I feel like I'm pretty good at weddings, and put me in a Polish wedding, phenomenal. Put me in a Greek wedding, I was like, oh, what the what is going on, right? So like even just variations of things for a project.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to lose a client per se on that. You might lose a client, but I think if someone really likes your work, they'll be willing to help educate you so you're ready for that. So, you know, the first time I ever walked into a manufacturing plant, I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I looked up examples of what other people were doing and stuff, but I told them that. So then they were like, hey, before we do the shoot, why don't you come in? You can get a tour of our place. We'll send you some samples of videos our competitors do. They try to help me because they really liked who I was and my work. So they were willing to fill in those gaps where if I would have came in swinging and been like, hey, I'm the expert of manufacturing videos, I know how to do X, Y, Z, they probably wouldn't have helped me at all. So then I would have showed up not knowing what I'm doing. So we get these clients and they're like, wow, this is worth every penny, or like, you guys should charge more money, and they have no changes and they're great. But then you get the other clients who are like, this is too expensive. Yep. So I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that, because I think that can also hurt your mindset and basically create imposter syndrome, because you know, you got it's like kind of like whiplash, because it's like, okay, this person paid this, they said it was worth it, so I'm gonna start charging that. But now next person I talk to, it might be a few people, they all tell you you're too expensive. So then you start getting in your head and you don't think you're worth your value anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you and I went through this year. I don't know if you want to speak more on that, but I'll speak a little bit more on weddings. It's kind of, I mean, this also goes into family and business, right? But it kind of gets in your head because we do weddings and some of these projects go up to 10K, maybe like 7, 8K, but the weddings can potentially go up to 10, you know, what is it, 5 figures? Yeah. And then you get family asking you to do something, and they want exactly what you do for your clients, but they're like, oh, we can pay you $300. And it's like, guys, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And it's like you get in your head because like, what am I doing charging this much? What am I doing? Like, I didn't go to college. What am I doing? And you get in your head, and then the next person that asks you for a wedding, you're like, oh, I'll do it for 35. Yeah. And you do the wedding, and now you're like, shit, I should have charged more, because it's a headache. Yeah. It gets in your head, and you can't let that happen. You can't let yourself think that you're not good enough when you have the skills that people are paying you and never once complain.
Yeah, you have to almost be okay with saying no. Like, I know I've heard there's a saying that leaders grow more with their no's than their yeses. Yeah. And I think that's very true, because you have to be okay with like them not being okay with your price. It's just like with me, like, you know, there's certain things I value more than other things. You'd probably never see me in a Rolex shop buying a watch because I don't think that watch is worth my money. But there would be other things like experiences, for example, like going on a trip. I'd be willing to put more money into something like that. And other people are going to be like that too. And so it's okay if not everyone wants your price. You have to just kind of get out of your own way and not take it personally. And I think this is an important thing too, is like, this is business. It's not always personal. And so if someone's not okay with your price, it's not an attack on you per se, but it's a chance for you to maybe have another opportunity that could come along. So,
I mean, it's just not a good fit sometimes. Even with the exact same clients, because we learned this recently with the Sam Timothy episode, right? People come to us as experts, not to like just slap a band-aid. Like, we're there to diagnose a problem. And I can think of 2 realtors who've come to us who have the exact same problem. We would have the exact same solution, right? The exact same cure. And both of them are top producing agents. You know where I'm going with this?
No.
But one of them booked us, no problem.
Yeah.
The other one, too expensive.
Yeah.
And they're both top agents, both had same issues, needed a new team video, right? So it's not you.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
you.
them.
It's not,
yeah.
it's them.
And I think that's an important thing to remember. And this is what's helped me is exactly what you're saying. I remember that it's not me, it's them. Now this keeps happening, and this happens for like a year. Okay. Maybe you need to you need to reevaluate your pricing or whatever. But if it's just happening from time to time, that's a good thing. Like I don't know. I forgot. I don't have it off the top of my head, but the average close rate of a business is like really low, like way lower,
Less
like
than 30%.
Yeah, it's like 30% or less. And so if you're closing like 80% of your jobs, like you're way above the average, and maybe you're not even charging enough, to be honest. So like it's okay if like you don't win over every client, and it's just it's good to just keep that in mind of like, okay, this one's not for me. It's not an attack on me or my quality or anything. It's just they're not the right fit for me. So.
Kind of on the inverse side too, we've taken a job or we've quoted a job before. This is, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where you got in your own head and you're like, we're not charging enough. And then you send over the quote and like, oh, cool, we'll pay it right now. And it's for a project that's all for that time was only a 1-day, 2-day shoot, recording only, no editing. And they like paid your bills, no problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, now you're questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, am I good enough? It's like, what am I doing wrong? How can I find more of you?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is I think it depends like who your clientele is. And so that's what you got to remember too, is not to compare, say, the realtor to the manufacturing plant. They got different budgets. They have different expectations. They're looking for different things. And so there comes with different values in that. Like a realtor, I would totally understand why they might not value video, because they look at video as a here now, gone tomorrow commodity. Like
Because they're taking it out of their commission.
Totally. Yeah. It's coming usually out of their own pocket. They don't have a company paying for it per se. And it's more like flash in the pan content they're looking for. So I wouldn't spend $2,000, $3,000 on a video that's only going to last a day as well, just a reel or whatever. But a manufacturer, for example, they have a large team. They have probably a lot of internal moving parts and people.
They have a budget.
And they're probably creating a video with a longer shelf life. They're probably creating something that's going to live on their website for a few years. So they have no problem dropping $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever it might be. And so you got to remember that too. Like you don't want to be comparing different types of industries that may just not have the budget for what you're trying to do. So
very true.
I was talking about earlier how when I was in college, like social media wasn't as rampant as it is now. And so I was always comparing myself to the portfolios of other people in my classes. So like they'd be coming with this crazy stuff that looks like it's out of a movie. And like, I don't even know how to change my keyframe settings. So, so I was very intimidated by that. And then it also made me just feel like I wasn't good enough. And so I got to imagine. So I don't feel like I've really wrestled with the social media thing. I think I kind of grew out of a lot of the imposter syndrome by the time that was as rampant as it is now with Instagram and TikTok. But you've kind of grown up in it. So I'd be kind of curious to hear from your perspective of how social media can cause imposter syndrome and cause that constant comparing to others.
Okay. I can kind of start from the beginning because growing up with social media, it negatively impacted my mental, like for sure, just without a doubt. But I think the problem with it too, with social media, because you're constantly being fed what you like, is there's a progression with your skill. There's a progression in your perspective of like desired skill. And the media is always sending you something that's a little bit more than what you like. So when I first was starting out, I was really into Sam Colder and his stuff. I started doing my teal orange grades, and I'm like, I'm trying to be like him. I'm not there yet. Once I grew and I started making good edits, teal orange edits, I started moving into more like real life stuff. And I'm not looking at his stuff anymore. I'm looking at video editing, right? And I felt like I wasn't good enough because it's video. It's harder. Once I became good at video editing, video shooting, I'm like, okay, how do I direct commercials with lighting? So it's like, no matter how good I was getting, there was always something more that I'm not yet. Even currently, I feel like our videos are pretty good. Our recap stuff, our highlights, everything's good. But now I'm looking at documentary and people actually directing like commercials for TV. So the algorithm always feeding you something you're interested in and just the nature of you wanting to be better, it's going to negatively impact you. Just from my experience,
Yeah.
You're never going to feel like it's enough because it's never enough. You're always looking to get something better. It's like is Sisyphus happy?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's literally what it feels like to me, just scrolling and try to improve.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really answers your question, but
No,
that's been my
and I don't think
experience.
it's all necessarily bad. Like, it's good to strive to be better. Like, even my example in college, I saw it and it was discouraging in a way, and I kind of got in my head, but it also was a fuel and motivator to be like, I got to get my stuff together because like, I want to.
Anything's a motivator though, but comparison is a thief of joy. Like,
Yeah.
like I just put out a Minnesota edit and I thought it was really good. And now I'm looking at my feed and I'm looking at this Trello feed and I'm like, everything I have is in America, in the United States or Central America. And my stuff is good. I'm looking at him and being like, why haven't I had any Europe trips?
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying. It's a good motivator because like I wouldn't be here without other artists to steal from and learn from. But it's not going to make you happy.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to make you happy is you actually putting in the work and seeing yourself grow and being emotionally mature enough to actually take it in and not go crap on other people.
Yeah. And I think it's understanding where you fit. Like, pre-COVID, I was intrigued by like the destination wedding side of thing and the luxury weddings. So I started trying to maybe imitate that and go down that route. But then like after COVID, obviously a lot of things changed. I then had a kid shortly after COVID. My mindset changed. And even though when I do see the luxury weddings pop up in my feed, I'm like, man, I could have been pursuing that. But then I really think about it and I'm like, I really enjoy where I'm at. I really enjoy doing a wedding and I go home the next day and I'm paid pretty well and it's a good time. It's a good couple. And so I think it's understanding like where you fit too, because otherwise, again, you're going to always be constantly comparing yourself, but you have to figure out like, what is your role within everything?
I like what you're saying because logistically you can also look at what's going on. Like you've told me that the reason we don't pursue destination weddings anymore is because you looked at the numbers and they're making a lot more. But when you actually put in the days and travel and everything, it's actually not that much more. Like it's more money coming in per job, but it's also a lot more work. So, it makes more sense to do what we're doing now for you to raise your kids and everything. And like I got responsibilities too, so it doesn't make sense for
you got those sheep to take care of.
Yeah.
And the horses.
Sheep's the one thing we don't have actually.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Next on the list.
Sorry.
Like sheep and cows. But yeah, logistically, like you see some travel pages, right? And then I'm not gonna name names, but then you see a story about someone breaking down because they're not getting enough work or whatever, and you find out a lot of these jobs are free, very cheap, right? It's a portfolio building thing. So like I'm looking at someone. Listen, I'm not talking negative. I'm just saying logistically, the idea of that I had in my mind about like where I should be doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean I think that just
and you have to remember too, and that's why I think social media can be very damaging because every time you go on social media, you have to remember that this is just someone's highlight reel. This isn't their real life. This isn't all the hard work and things going on behind the scenes. And I've noticed too, so like, we had kind of a hole in editing and I was always just trying to take applications from random people. And I end up with like hundreds of applications and none of them really fit. So I started poaching people basically of like, I like their work. I'm going to see if they're willing to edit. And it's surprising how many people actually they don't have it as together as their social media would make you think. Like they're actually really desperate for work, but you're only looking at their social media. And this is like someone who I would think is like way ahead of me and steps ahead of me. And they actually like don't have that much work and they're desperately looking for work. And so you have to just remember that, this is a highlight reel. It's not like their actual life per se. And so you can't compare yourself to that. If you want to compare yourself to someone, it should be someone you actually like know that you can sit down and have a conversation with.
I actually have a story about this. Two examples. One of them, you told me about an agent recently who is a top agent.
Yeah.
And they're coming to you and they're saying that like, hey, we're not actually doing anything.
Yeah.
Another one is, so for context viewers, I have a rule when I post about travel, I'm actually never traveling because it's like a security thing. People know I'm not home, whatever. So having said that, all the traveling I did earlier this year, I've posted about now. And I had someone come up to me the other day and saying, oh, you're here. Like, we need you for a project, but it's already happening so soon that we can't hire you. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. And they're like, no, because we thought you were we thought you were abroad and everything. And it's like online, like right now, would love to take in some more work. But because they have this perception of me being fully booked and busy all the time, it's like the social media doesn't match the reality.
Yeah.
And
you need a little disclaimer before your videos play. This was shot a year ago or something.
Yeah, but that takes away from the magic.
Yeah,
of it,
I know. I know.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just from my experience. I'm losing work because I have it together online.
Yeah.
And what does that mean about other people who have it together?
Yeah.
Let me give you guys a little bit of info. Nobody has it together. Nobody. Am I right? Do you have it together?
No, it's definitely true. I mean, like they're almost in a way you're doing a disservice if you come across as two together, because then you're not approachable. Us as humans, we relate with people's failures and because that's what makes us human, like that's how we relate to each other. So if you have it two together, especially on your social media, you look like you're less approachable. And so it's almost good to weave in some of that real. I mean, that's even why we're having a conversation like this, just to make it obvious that like I do not have it together. Like I even still to this day will sometimes wrestle with imposter syndrome. Like I'm about to send a quote and I'm like, I'm not worth this much. I should lower the price by like $5,000. And so it's still a struggle. And so I think that's what makes us relatable. And it's also probably going to help you get booked for stuff if you are approachable and relatable like that.
And here's another disclaimer. I second guess myself every day. It just happens.
Especially if I'm looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, I guess. What did you just say? You just said something so good, and I was going to comment on it. Man, what were you just about to say? Oh, yeah.
Not being approachable.
No, I know what you're saying. The not being approachable, like you having it too. I heard this recently. I don't remember from where, but most people's profiles, like online, are a costume. Mm-hmm. And they show you what they want you to see. So like, I guess you could apply this to me. I'm just putting out a bunch of travel. That's because I'm currently not traveling. People who are always smiling in their photos tend to not be very happy. But, it's like it's like people just show you what they want. They're masking whatever insecurities they have with social media. I mean, for us, for business, it's not so much the case, but on a personal level, it is.
So, no, it's true. I mean, I always feel weird when someone tells me to smile in a picture. It's like if I'm actually having a good time, I'm just going to naturally smile. If I'm not having a good time, I'm not going to smile. So it's like, I don't know. When I look back at that photo, then it's not realistic. Like I'm going to, like other people aren't going to know. They're going to be like, oh, look, they're having a wonderful time, blah, blah, blah. It's a wonderful life or whatever. But like, I'm going to be like, oh, I was just putting on like a mask,
That's why candidates are so good. Yeah, some of my favorite.
And I'm not saying like you can't smile in a picture, like if you're being posed in a picture, but like where like it is a thing of like, okay, like if I'm really not having a good time, like maybe I shouldn't take the picture, like, or if I'm going to take the picture, I want to take it like how.
This is awkward too sometimes. Yeah. Like I don't have a lot of photos of me smiling. You made that joke earlier, but I have a photo that my girlfriend just sent me recently.
Yeah,
I'm smiling really hard. You know what I was doing in that photo? Eating a slice of pizza. It's like one of my favorite photos, and it's like, anyways, going back to imposter syndrome.
Yeah, because one of my favorite video clips of you're not smiling in it. So.
Oh, that's what a shame.
We'll talk about that. You probably got that.
Dedicated, man.
So one attribute that they often associate with people who have imposter syndrome is they don't accept praise well.
Yeah, I think that tracks.
Yeah,
I feel that way.
And I feel like I'm kind of one of those people. I think I've gotten better at it. And I think it's just, I don't know, maybe you disagree. Maybe you think I brag a lot, but I feel like I'm the kind of person that I feel like it's hard to say it because usually they say if someone says they're humble, they're not actually humble. But I do feel like I try to not take the spotlight on things. I don't, especially for example, when we do the same day teasers, the day is about the couple. I'm doing that for the couple. I'm not doing it for, hey, look how cool I am. But I think I've gotten better at understanding my role in that, of like, it's okay to accept the praise. Like, it's not like I should immediately be like, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. Like, it's okay to embrace that praise because they are like proud of what you did. You made their day better, but to then kind of turn it back around to being about them again, And so I think it's hard, especially as like creatives. I think you kind of want the work to speak for itself. So then once someone starts like coming up to you and hugging you or high-fiving you or something, it gets like weird,
Yeah, it does. I think I think too is because like you want everyone to look at the nice thing you did and think that that's cool, kind of like what you're saying. So when everyone directs their attention to you, even if I mean most artists are introverts as well, so kind of having all those eyes on you and praise also just is uncomfortable.
Yeah, especially during someone's like most important day.
Yeah, because it's like it's the wedding of the couple, you know.
And we've had some hate comments on that stuff too, where it's like, oh, you're making this all about yourself, but it's like it's really not. Like,
can I say, what haters, man?
In the Facebook groups, anytime I post a teaser, it's all negative stuff. It's not like that's a really cool thing. Well, there's a lot of people who are like, that's really cool. How did you do that? But you get like these people in there who are like, oh, you're making it all about yourself. Psh, who cares? They're living the day of, like, so it's funny, like the comments of it. And then it probably comes back.
That sounds like insecurity.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It sounds like they have imposter syndrome, to be honest.
It's sorry to be a hater, but I'm not looking at anyone doing a same day edit. No, I mean, we can do same day edits and being like, oh yeah, it's like, it's sorry. I get heated when people go hater mode. I don't know why they have enough hate in their heart. Like, this is not your couple. Yeah. This is not your wedding. This couple wanted something, or the mother of the bride told us that they would be a cool thing, or they had they were referred from one of their bridesmaids who booked with us. Yeah. They had one. It's kind of expected that we should give them one too. Right. Like, there's a standard for it. Like, there's a place for it. Sorry, what I'm trying to say is, there's an expectation that this is okay. Yeah. And the couple would enjoy this and they think it would be cool and their family members would enjoy this. They're not there getting ready together. They're in separate locations getting ready. Like, there's things of the day that they didn't see that they would love to see on their wedding day. There's a reason for it. So when people attack it, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Going back to the comparing. So the problem with the comparing is there's always going to be people better than you. It's always going to be like, there's always going to be someone better than you. Yeah. But you have to remember, there's still people you're better than. And so, like, you have to, and it might sound kind of bad or whatever, but where I'm getting at with this is you're at the level you're at, and you should embrace that, because you have a saying that I think tees this up really well. Yeah. Quote Christian Diaz 2025. If you
Your half-ass is someone's whole ass.
So you got to remember, you might be struggling with imposter syndrome and you don't think you're doing enough, but someone out there is doing less work than you and they think they're giving their all and they're possibly charging for that and they're doing way worse work than you. So it's good to remember that what you're doing at that time is like the right thing for you. And obviously you can keep getting better and it's good to strive for that, but you shouldn't be comparing yourself to them because there's probably someone doing less of the work than you are. So
can I also I want to spin it in a positive direction too, because what we're saying is, like, if you have enough repetition, something that's 50% of your effort will still be like really cool to someone. It's also on the flip side. My full 100% at rock climbing videos, right? Because I got hired to do that. It's bad. It's not that good. But on the bright side, like, that was my full effort and I gave something that I think is mediocre, right? Yeah. But with repetition, with just doing this, and it's like, I understand the imposter syndrome where like you can feel scared, but just by creating evidence for your confidence, you're gonna get there. And eventually, my half-ass rock climbing videos are gonna be someone else's 100%. Like, it's just a repetition thing. It's just a muscle that you have to flex. And I think that's a positive way to looking at it, because I'm not Alex Honnold. I'm not Osterk, right? Those guys are amazing, but eventually I'll get there. Just with enough practice, I'll get there. Yeah. But for them, because they've done it so much, them barely trying, or it's like second nature, they're going to do something that's way better than me just because of the practice. So, yes, but take it with a grain of salt.
I want to see if I can go ahead and just destroy this whole episode.
What are you going to do?
Has this episode been too sus?
Why?
Because we keep talking about the imposter. As we start to approach the end of this podcast, I wanted to get practical, just some things in my own life, plus things I've heard from others. One of the things that has helped me with my own imposter syndrome, and I think you could do to help others who maybe they struggle, maybe you don't even know they struggle with it, but they do internally, is just to be a positive on the things they do. So, like I was talking about how there's like haters sometimes with these teaser or whatever. And I was thinking about the opposite approach to that. So like our boy Nick that shoots with us. Oh yeah. Like when I did the same day teaser, he was all like positive words about it. He wasn't just like a jealous videographer working with us as I was doing it. He was like, oh, this is great. Like nothing compares to this. He was building me up for what I was doing, essentially, whether he knows it or not. And I think that's what I try to do with others is I try to get on my own, because like I don't know, like there's this human tendency where we see someone excelling and we want to pull them down. We're like crabs in a bucket, and it's like the crab's trying to get out and we just try to pull them back down with us. We don't want to see someone win. Like it's weird. Like humans have a tendency to do that, and you have to almost like erase that from your brain, and you have to do the opposite. So if someone does something well, to give them positive feedback and be like, that's awesome. That's so cool. That's amazing. You're doing that. That person might struggle with imposter syndrome, and by you giving them encouragement and giving them positive feedback, it's going to help them work through that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a skill you learn when you, I don't want to say climb, but when you progress and you get into better groups of people, that's a skill that you just have to learn too. You have to be happy to lift other people up, and just because they're doing better, you don't bring them down with you. Yeah. This is something that happens in the gym and photography and everything. Like, you naturally, especially for competitive, right? If someone's doing better than you want to be better than them. Yeah. So, but I mean, that's just the thing in life. You have to be happy for other people. Sorry, I'm saying this because I actually had this experience like this recently. Cut those people out too, and try to be a good influence on the people in your circle. That's
great. Let me see if I got some more. So another thing you can do that I think helps is to track your progress. So track your wins. You can even track your losses too, because we can learn from our losses, and those can become stories that we tell to do things better. But I think it's good to do that because then it gives you a chance to look back. So going back to what we were talking about, where maybe you land this client for like a high budget, and then the next 3 you talk to, they say you're too expensive. Well, you have that win documented, so you could always go back to it and be like, what did I do there? Maybe it is something with me, and maybe it's just my workflow that's a little off. Like maybe the value's there, maybe I'm just saying the wrong thing. You can kind of learn from that past win you had. And if anything, even if there's not a learning moment there, it's just encouragement for you to kind of get back out there again. Be like, no, you know what? I don't need to lower my prices. I did this before. I can do it again. And you have that encouragement from yourself.
The whole learning thing. I rarely learn from a good shoot. I rarely take home something very valuable from a 100% functioning shoot, which is rare to say because something always goes wrong. But I learn a lot from anything that just kind of goes sideways, because there's always something, even if it's no one's fault. Sometimes there's a tech issue, and you just learn, okay, this is what we'll do to prevent it next time.
So the last
confidence.
So the last one. So when are you normally comparing yourself to others? You're probably alone, right?
I can actually very specifically tell you when I feel the worst. Running social media, just had a mad day, right? Alone past 9 p.m. I'm telling you this because my therapist told me this in the past, right? Where it's like, never trust your feelings about your life past 9 p.m. They're not accurate. They're not accurate. So that's, I think.
So I want to hone in on the third finger. I think it was your third finger.
Yes, alone.
That's a crucial thing. So like, we should never do this alone, because whenever you're alone, you're going to be more likely to compare yourself to others, because again, you're alone, you have nothing else to do. So you're mindlessly scrolling social media and you're comparing yourself. So doing this work in a community aspect, I think is so crucial. And whether that's in person or you can find other people online, it's just important. And they don't have to be other creatives, like just finding other business owners, like finding a local chamber or something that you have others that you're talking to, that you're kind of growing with, and it makes you less likely to be comparing yourself to others.
Cool.
So the last thing I was going to leave us with is kind of a story and a reference. So I attended the Global Leadership Summit this year, and one of the speakers, David, I'm not going to butcher his last name, starts with an A. He had this reference. It wasn't in regards to imposter syndrome, but I took it that way more personally, how I applied it to myself. He was giving a story. I don't know if it's a true story or not, but this dad has 2 kids that are in a play. One of the kids has like a famous role, essentially, you know, like they're singing and stuff, like kind of a key role. The other kid, and this kid is very charismatic, very outgoing. You know, kind of fell naturally into this role. Other kid, super introverted, scared of crowds, scared of being in front of large groups of people, they had a background role. They had like one sentence dialogue or something. When the charismatic kid went on, did the singing performance, everyone cheered, right? When the other kid came on and did the little line that they had, no one cheered because it was just basic dialogue. But the dad in the audience of the two kids wanted to applaud almost more for that child than the other, because that the father knew what it took for that child to be able to do that. And that's essentially how God views us, as his children, you know? And so I try to have that mindset as well, of like, I might not be doing like what that person's doing, but I'm doing the role that God has crafted me to do. And regardless of what that role is, he's proud of me. And so I always try to have that mindset. There's a scripture verse that I think is in the Psalms that's kind of like this or whatever, but that's something I always kind of like, when I started struggling with this, I think to that of, okay, I might not measure up to what this person's expectations are or whatever, but I'm still measuring up to like who God has created me to be, and I'm doing that role for him. So
Are you saying that what gives you confidence being a videographer is because you feel like this was called to you? Is that what you're...
I don't know if I would call it like a call. I think a calling is kind of it's a little more pompous in a way. Like, I don't know if I really call it a calling, but I think at the end of the day, like my role is to be a servant of God. And so if it means doing this, that's what I'm going to do. If all of a sudden he takes this away from me, like, I'm going to do something else. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So if I'm doing that using video, and if I'm loving people by creating stuff for them and helping them like cherish their memories or grow their business or themselves or whatever it is, that's like my role. And that's where I feel like I've been called to. And it might not be as good as this person or that person, but he loves me the same regardless of how good or bad I am.
Because you're still serving a purpose.
I'm still doing what I'm... Yeah.
You know, it is really poetic when you say it like that, because they say that God comes down every day to marriages when he unifies people.
Yeah.
And you're there documenting that.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's a little bit of a stretch, but
yeah,
like you're documenting the work of God, bringing it together families.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. And unfortunately, I mean, we're about to go down a tangent, but our culture has kind of lessened marriage, but it's an important thing. And it's, I don't care like who you are, when you're like at these weddings and they do the anniversary dance or whatever, it's kind of a cheesy thing. But when you see that couple standing there has been married for 50 years, like, how many people stick with something for 50 years? You know, like the fact that they stuck together, and you can, and especially once you get married, you start having kids, you know what they went through, you know, like you know what the struggles were. And so the fact that they kept that together, there's something like holy about that, whether they believe in anything or not. They could be atheists for all I care, but there is something special and holy about that. And I think, but regardless of that, going back to what I was saying is, regardless of what you're doing, as long as it's like something, so like for me, this would be like glorifying God. Like, I want to glorify God with what I do. I don't know what your thing is. Like again, that might not be your background. You might believe in whatever you believe in, but you have to find that foundation of like what you're going to stand on, because that's what I always go back to, is like, when I feel like I'm not measuring up to this person or that person, I remember that, well, I'm doing to the best of my ability what I am supposed to be doing, and that's serving God. So,
okay. And so now in perspective, think about this, right? Yeah. Everything you just said about having purpose, right? And filming the anniversary dance at a wedding where you see all these generations of family, right? And you're worried about having a 4-stop or 8-stop NT filter, you know? You get in your head about, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Oh, you know, the audio levels is 2 decibels too high. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
You better still have your stuff dialed in, though, if you're shooting for
me. You do, but, you know, but...
No, I'm kidding.
The weight of what's going on. Yeah. The weight of, like, how important is this versus what is this? You know,
I think we lose the track of that, too. And I think that's why that's when we lessen what we do. Like, we think, because we shoot XYZ all the time. Like, it could be anything. You shoot realtor videos all day, every day. You shoot weddings all day or all week, every weekend. We started to lessen what we do. When you really step back, you're doing a pretty important thing that has not been replaced by AI yet. Probably will not be replaced by AI. And so you have to remember, like, you're doing something a lot of people cannot do. And so you have a talent and a skill set that someone wants to pay money to have you do. Because, I mean, I can't speak for every, some couples, whatever, they think floral is more important than their photography. But really, if they were in a correct mind state and they thought like 10 years, 20 years in the future, that photo and video that's being captured is probably the most valuable thing that's tangible, that's going to come from that wedding. Like nothing else is going to withstand the test of time.
But I mean, it is just what's important to the couple, though.
Yeah.
It just comes down to what they need.
Yeah. But it's kind of a word of encouragement. Like, okay, not ignoring the couples who would rather have really expensive floral than a photographer. The ones that are more sane, what you're doing for them, whether they know it or not, is an investment, and it's a very powerful investment, and it's something that is going to increase in value. So for you to think that it's only worth $500 for you to film a wedding is totally out of whack. Like you have to really think, what kind of weight does this product hold over the years? And when you think about it that way, it kind of erases a lot of imposter syndrome, because like what you're doing is very special. Now, if you're really bad at it, then unfortunately that just is what it is. But if you're doing it well, then it's probably worth what you're charging, if not more. So
I mean, we have a photographer friend who said this in a beautiful way, Audrey. I'll have her thing linked below. You're creating a family heirloom.
Yeah.
Especially if you think this couple's gonna stay together,
Yeah, unfortunately, some of them don't.
Rarely, but that's worth a lot. That's worth, that's worth it.
Yeah.
Especially we make videos that they tell us they look back at it so many times. They watch it every anniversary. Yeah. It's worth it to them. And if they're gonna keep that tradition up for 10 years, well, I mean, what do you mean you're charging $200?
Yeah, yeah, and I'll spin drum it on the commercial side too, because that one sometimes people wrestle with too. They're like, well, that's weddings, that's one thing. Okay, we're making a family heirloom, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. What about a commercial? Like all I'm doing is filling their pocket. Well, that is kind of the goal of the video, like, so for you to think like, okay, this video is not worth very much. If that video causes, like, let's say it is like a construction company. How much do you think they charge to build a new house? Like let's say they're doing everything. They're doing architecture. They
$750,000.
Yeah, like especially a really nice home.
Yeah, $750,000.
If your video brings in one client, who's not to say it's not worth $10,000, $20,000, $30,000? Now, if you're charging $1 million and the house costs $1 million, okay, maybe your video is not worth it. But for them to bring in one client from your video, that's a lot of value. Now, let's say they bring in 2 or 3 or 4, and it compounds from there. So you have to put yourself in that. You have to remember that okay, what we're doing is like, I'm not just making a video, like I'm creating an asset for them that is going to result to them getting more work. So this really asset is invaluable. Like if it works correctly how it's supposed to, and it brings in more clients, now this asset, it has unlimited value. It's really worth like anything at that point.
True. I'm gonna change the subject a little bit, though. Well, not the subject, but I'm gonna change the perspective here, because I think we're avoiding something, right? We're talking about purpose, we're talking about weddings, we're talking about God, we're talking about an asset. At the end of the day, our skills cost time and money, and this is a stigma that took me a while to unlearn. We're a business. We're in the business of making money, and the people who work in that business have to eat and have to put a roof over their heads and have families to support. You got to charge for that. And I know this, like, some people think negatively of it, right? But like, we're not a charity. Mm-hmm. We're not a charity. What I'm trying to say is, there's no shame in making money because life is expensive. You just don't want to get greedy.
Yeah.
There's a big distinction between making money and being greedy.
Right.
And you have to make money in this business. Like, everything on top of it is great. At the end of the day, you and I got to eat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and you have expensive taste, so
I do
with your food. $30 Chipotle.
Sodium intake making me, man, it's America.
No, that's true. And what you said, I think, is very true too. To remember, like, again, there's nothing wrong with making money. It's usually where people end up falling apart is they get greedy. So like when you hear about these studios that collapse and go bankrupt, they got greedy. That's what happened.
Even on the opposite end, people are like ashamed of making money, but it's funny. We don't want to charge to be making money, but we want to be rich.
Right.
How does that work? So there's no shame in making money. Every company thinks that way. Like, yes, some of them are the very like, oh, we gotta like cut costs, but a lot of the people who book us are honestly very honest working people who have a factory to build, products they want to put out, and families they want to feed.
Yeah.
Like they really do care about their employees.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with helping them make money.
Yeah. No. You know, some people, they get like, oh, you're just feeding corporate business.
Not really.
And I would say, I mean, I guess if you're working with Coca-Cola, it's a different story, but we're typically working with like local small business. When I say small business, they can be like hundreds and hundreds of people working for them, but I would still call it like small business.
They still make millions, but like
most of them, you know, like I'm sure they like making money, but they're really, a lot of times they're just making money because they want to hire more people, they want to give more people jobs, they want to take care of their employees, they want to take care of themselves, they want to take care of their family, and so you're feeding that. So you got to remember, like, okay, it's not just like, oh, I'm just getting this person rich, so my value is nothing. It's like you have to. There's a.
I'll fill this in for you, because when we film for these companies, like the people who actually hire us, we do interviews, right? Usually we do a brand film for them. We do interviews with their employees, and their employees say, hey, it's not like a pizza party sort of place.
Yeah.
We generally do get bonuses from the profit.
Yeah.
Like we generally do get a good check. We get holidays off. We get good part-time. It's like family. And when they say it, they don't mean it in a corny, you know, we're working at the hot dog stand in your small town, it's family, but we're going to kick you out immediately.
Yeah.
Like they genuinely care for each other.
Yeah.
So going back, I don't mind making these people more money because it's actually helping them.
Yeah.
Or at least I haven't been.
No.
I've worked for you for half a decade.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with anything that I do.
He'll just never live in my neighborhood.
Yeah. Sorry for another day.
So I guess I have a little bit of doubt, but I think this is the end of the episode. So I suppose we will now say, stay kind of creative.